Welcome to Marion's World again, and a new page on the stitch journal, and 2 new stitches along with couching. So we're going to do a couch first, and then there will be fly stitch and leaf stitch, which is also known as fishbone stitch. Both really lovely filling stitches. I hope you'll enjoy them. Well, it's lovely to be starting a new page and a new theme. Because I've been going out into my garden every day to make observations for my watercolour painting, I've been noticing the leaves coming out on all of the shrubs and the roses and everything. So I thought, because that was a whole page design here, that I could do another whole page design here. And so the theme is definitely leaves, and I thought it could be a lovely tree and all the leaves could be different stitches or different techniques. Probably would be helpful to draw something there to start off with. You don't need to draw a whole design, you don't need to draw every leaf in, but to just have a sense of where you're going, it's probably helpful. And so the easiest way, I'm going to just show you on this piece of paper. I just need to start off with a lovely swooping line, and it's just a bit of a wiggle, and then if you add another swooping line that gets sort of half, well maybe, I don't know, a couple of inches up and then goes off in another direction, got the startings of a tree. Most branches of a tree come out from around about the same size. So if I just go up and taper that one off, and I go and taper that one off, and put maybe another one up the middle, we've already got the beginnings of a tree. I can add a branch here to come down because I want some leaves down here, and I can add a branch over there, whichever direction you desire. And then basically you've got a tree going, and as the stitching goes on, more branches can be added if you want. And it is as simple as just adding some curved lines all the time. But you don't need to add all these lines on at the beginning, and plus you probably want more area for the leaves to be. So I'm going to fill in all of the gaps with leaves, but I'm not going to draw them on all at the beginning because I don't know where I might put them. So the basic thing would be just to get a little bit of a drawing. You can add roots if you want, but I'm not going to bother doing that at the moment. The main thing is to have a decent sort of a thickness of trunk, and then wherever you want your branches to come out from, make them all come out from that point. Don't just start and go up and up and up like that, because it won't look so tree-like. If all the branches are coming out from around about the same area, you'll have more room for your leaves and your tree trunk will look nice. And I've just done it with my disappearing pen. In fact, I don't mind even going over the lines with the pen because I know it'll get covered up. So I've got a branch coming off here, I've got one going up there, a big tall one going right the way up, and one coming off here. So I've got 5 branches altogether. And I've sketched 1 or 2 leaves just to get the size of what I was going to hopefully show you. That's my start. And I'm going to be doing the trunk. And for that, I'm going to use my thread jar where I put all my little bits of threads in. I'm going to pull it out, see what I've got. If you don't have a thread jar, or you don't keep your threads, use some knitting yarn or some crochet yarn. But I don't mind having a colourful trunk, and I'm just going to, look, there's some brown there and green. I'm just going to pull some threads out of here. That's quite a good trunk. That's actually fabric. I don't mind the bits of fabric being in it all. I do have yarn. I like the green. Don't mind red and purple. It's whatever you choose to think that you like. If you've got a thread jar, if you haven't, as I say, just use some wool. But I'm lucky enough that I keep my threads and I use them for all sorts, and this is one of the things I'd use them for. Right, I think I've got enough. Right, put that back in my jar. And so going back to what I did in the very first page, which is couching, and I'm going to couch down the tree trunk. So I've got just a nondescript green really from my tangle. There's actually 2 strands there, and I've got quite a big needle with a decent eye, but it's got a sharp point. And all I'm doing to start this off is just teasing all these threads apart until I get the distribution of the colours, just something that suits me. And if you're doing this with yarn, you can choose whatever yarns you want. But I'm going to just start, because I think this will make a nice, I think I'll take that blue ribbon out, but I'll leave that bit in. I'm just going to start actually somewhere in the middle of my tree trunk and come up with my needle and then get this sort of going. It needs to be a little bit compact. Boo, I can hear you. I'll have to go and get her. And then I'm just going to go back at the other side of the tree and just go straight down, because in some way it has to get stitched down so that embroidery can be done on top. There, you can sit on my knee. Here she is, the stop work. Aren't she? Eh? The stop work. There. Is that all you wanted for a cuddle? There, sit on my knee while I'm doing a tree. No, straight off again. Coming up on the same side I've gone down. I'm going to give them a bit of a twist, like that. If there's any particular colours you think look nice on top, like I think they're quite nice, I'll leave them on the top. I'm just going to come straight over and go down on the side, right on my line again. And take a stitch underneath and pull that in. Don't want to be pulling any gathers into your fabric, but it's definitely easy just to go straight across, take a little stitch, and just be aware that you're gathering those threads up and you don't want them to be loose. So I'm not going to go any further down than where I've got the roots coming out, and that's because I'm not sure if I want roots yet. So I'm actually just going to leave that there. Help your little thread ends in. And so at the moment, I've got a trunk going, that's for sure. So I'm just going to leave that for the minute, sort that out later, and just thread my way up and around, up through these threads to get to where else I want to be, because I don't exactly want to finish my thread off. I just want to carry on. I've got it up to where I started. Have a look at my little drawing. Okay, I'll go back down this way, pick up a little stitch, and I'm ready to go on. So now there's my tree starting to branch out. So I'm just going to keep my thread out of the way. Just going to pull my threads. If they need to be cut, well, they're already half cut, so it doesn't really matter. Just if there's something like that, just cut it. Get them separated a bit. Just cut it. And I'm going to get this bit, maybe a bit less there. This bit's come off, so I'm going to put it back in, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a twist, which helps keep the fibres together, and start pulling that bit out for this branch. I put my needle over, and now this branch is small enough that I can just go underneath and just pull it in. Bit of a twist, like that. The twist will help you move your threads in a nice curve. Hold it down, stitch over it, and in this way you can make the basic shape of the tree. Just keep twisting and stitching down. That's why it was helpful to draw the tree first and draw the thickness of your branches, so that you can actually see where you need to stitch. Lie it on your branch line, over you go with a straight stitch and move along about 1 centimetre. And move along to the end of this branch. Now I probably don't want this branch to be going really long. I'm going to have a look at it now. And I think actually I can cut that off. Maybe I just want it to be about here. I'll add them to the pile, and then I'll just carry on coming over the top and curving it wherever I think looks nice. Twisting, twisting, and I'm just going to hold that end in while I put those final 2 pieces on. I'm going to just sew those down just to catch the ends in, but I wouldn't worry too much about any loose threads because it's going to get overstitched. And there may be fabric leaves go on, or all sorts of things. So as long as it's mainly this, I wouldn't worry too much about things like that. It'll add to the branches. But I'm going to go back over, doing exactly the same, just couching down on top. You can make your stitches go in the direction of your twist. So mine are twisting that way. So I'm going to come in with a long stitch, and then actually my couching stitch will disappear into the twisted threads. So if I do that, my threads are twisting that way, so I can come back and lie my thread in the same direction. You're not even going to be able to see it, and then it means that whatever colours I've got there is fine, and if I do over embroidery, that's also fine. So I've worked my way back up to the middle, park my needle a minute and sort the next piece out. I'm liking the way this tree looks already. So next bit, I'll just pull some of this in a bit and just make sure I've got enough thickness. A little bit more work if you're working with your short threads off your thread jar, but hopefully you'll find that an enjoyable thing and not a chore. So I've got another branch going up here, look. So I'll take that one next. There we are, I've got that bit there. That looks nicely attached. So starting again. It suits me to be winding it this way because I'm left-handed, but you'll be doing yours the other way around. You might want to start from the other side of the tree if you're right-handed. Just takes a while, and then all of a sudden you'll find all your threads are lying in the same direction. There. You could put a pin in if you want and go over the top like that, just to hold it there. Then you can pick your work up and just do exactly the same. And again, I can go straight across, or I can lie it in the direction of the twist. But I'm coming up on the line of the thickness of my branch, like that. Twist more threads, get them a bit thinner as you're going further up the end of the branch. This is a really lovely way not only to use the couching, which is a lovely thing to do, but just to use up all those bonny thread ends that you've probably kept. And even if I hold it up, you'll see that they just go in with all the colour. In fact, it doesn't actually matter which colour I use to couch if I do them in the direction of the twist, because they'll just go in with all the colours. So I'm nearly at the end of my thread, and the beauty of this is I'm just going to take one stitch over. I'm going to actually thread it through all of that, and all of my next embroidery will hold it in, so it's adding to the tangle. I'm going to cut those ends because I don't think I need that branch to be any longer. Cut them on a diagonal, just get them sewn on until the branch finished. I'll just work my way back down a bit, and if your stitches are crossing over, it's fine, it's all adding to the look. But you've already got the shape now, so it's so much easier. I take this bit of trunk a bit further up, get another thread. So extra branches can definitely be added. It can be added now or later, but I think as long as there's a main structure in, I want more space to put the leaves, and as the leaves get in, more branches can be added. But I think if the main structure's in with this couching, it's going to be something lovely for you to look at and something to add to, and it's going to grow every week. Start off with a stitch here. So I'm just going to put them in, hold them with my thumb, over I come, take a nice stitch underneath, get this trunk going a bit further up, and then start with separating branches again. And these colours are just going to look so pretty. I think the pin is definitely helpful. The pin goes up to the branch, over the top of the branch, and then down on the other side, like that. I hold it for you. If any bit of thread gets on your nerves, just pull it out, add it to the rest of the pile, and it'll go somewhere else instead. So at the minute I've got 3 branches done, and they're looking super bonny to me. And so I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to do these 2 here. Now I've come back because I'm just about to go down the middle of here. So I've blanket stitched all around there. I've got the roots in, and then I've gone all up this side of the tree and just onto the bottom of that branch. You can see where my thread's coming out. And I don't feel I need to do anything more on the branches at the moment, but there's nothing stopping you blanket stitching all of them. The more stitching that's over the top, the less you'll have any problem with loose threads coming. But at the moment I feel I'll do more stitching later maybe, and at the moment I don't need to. The only place I feel I need to is on this trunk. And so the easiest way is just to keep coming up and down with my blanket stitch. I'm going to get up into this tangle here, which is a bit loose. Just going to pass my thread through, and I'm going to do just very loose blanket stitches wherever I see something I need to be caught down, putting a blanket stitch in. I'm not even going through the fabric actually, I'm just going through the actual threads. Sometimes if you feel there's a lot loose, go through the fabric at the back as well, but you don't have to all the time. You'll get a feel for it, I think, whether you need to catch it down onto the fabric or whether you can just manage to go through the threads themselves. And that's a tree ready for leaves. I think it's really bunny. The colours are really pretty in it. That's setting the scene. I'm going to go and get my hoop. I've put my tree in a little hoop because of it being on the pages. I didn't want to put my big hoop on. Whereas I think it is easier to show these stitches being done in the hoop. It lets me have both my hands free instead of one creasing up the fabric. But you can probably do this in the hand just the same. I've taken some nice bright mossy green stranded cotton in my needle, and I'm using all 6 strands at the moment just to demonstrate this first leaf. But I'm going to show you the same stitch done in a finer amount of threads, just so you can see what difference it can make. So the first stitch of this week, the new stitch, is fly stitch. It's really nice and I use it quite a lot. I'm going to come up at the point of this leaf, and for the leaf I've just drawn an oval shape that has a point at the top, and I've actually made sure that I can see the middle line going through there. It may be that I'll continue on down here or not, but I'm up at the point of the leaf, and I'm going to take a stitch of about, I don't know, 1.5 centimetres and go down right on the middle vein. So that's just to get that first initial stitch in. Fly stitch is really lovely. It can make really nice twigs, really nice little thin branches if you do it in a big line, but to fill in for a leaf it's also really lovely. So I'm going to come up and I'm just aware of where the line is. I don't want to crowd the stitches, but I don't necessarily want them to be big gaps in. I'm going to come up on that side and I'm going to go straight over to the other side and go down. I'm just going outside my line a little bit, and that means I don't have to worry about getting the line off with the water. And where I'm going to come up is just down on just underneath where that first stitch went in, and almost it's like doing, at the moment, it's like doing a chain stitch because I'm coming through the loop. If I pull that and I tack that down, that is one fly stitch done. I suppose it's very similar to what you might have called an open chain stitch. It's the same actions. So to work down this leaf, I'm just going to work straight along the line, opening the stitch up as I go. So up on that side, down on that side, you can see how much I'm leaving. There's that stitch there. That's a good 1/8 of an inch, or about 4 millimeters separation. You don't want them crowded too much. Just come where you can see your next stitch needs to lie. I'll come straight up on the spine where the other stitch went down. Pull it nicely and go straight down on the spine again. And what I'm going to get by using fly stitch for this leaf is I'm going to get the lovely little knotted look that's going to come down the spine. So each time you just work a little bit further down the line of your leaf. Go underneath, pull through and up on the spine, straight on. You can even come up the same hole that the other stitch went down in. I work my way all down here, I'll have filled this leaf in. Down, you can see I'm holding onto the thread here, and up where the previous stitch went down. And if I wasn't working on the camera, I wouldn't keep bringing my left hand up to the top all the time. I usually work with my right hand at the top and my left hand underneath. You want your dominant hand to be working the underneath stitch. So, but I'm aware that sometimes my right hand will make the focus go out, but this is actually how I would work. The right hand puts everything down and the left hand stays underneath all the time. So as long as your dominant hand's doing the upwards motion. And you can see how nicely that stitch is going to make a leaf. and your non-dominant hand should be able to do find where it needs to go back down without much problem, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. I can see I'm nearly finished it. I'm going to put maybe another 2 stitches, and I think that may be enough. What I can do is I can give it a little bit of a stalk. Maybe I don't want this green to go all the way down, so I'm just going to put a couple of long stitches in with stem stitch and finish it there, because I don't think I want this green to go all the way down. That's fly stitch. So what if I didn't use all of my 6 strands? I've got a little bit of a fatter leaf this time. So I'm just going to pull 3 strands out. There's 1, 2 and 3. I'll just run my threads through my fingers to get the 3 threads lying nicely again. Back up to do fly stitch again. A slightly different shape, but I'll pull you in, and I'm going to do 2 different shades here, just so you can see the difference, and also the finer thread to see what difference it makes. It's all practicing. Just use your threads, choose to do different amounts. You can get quick coverage by using all 6, but you'll definitely get a finer embroidery. And look, I can there's enough slack on here that I think I can do it from the top. There we go. Can't always, sometimes I have things in too tight to do that, but at the minute. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap as I come down, and a little bit of a gap here too. It's sort of equivalent to a thread. Still stitching straight down on the loop, just like you would for a chain stitch. And a bit of a gap there. And my fingers of my right hand are actually pushing up now, because I'm just using all my sewing from the top. Sometimes it's manageable and sometimes it isn't, but have a practice. You might quite like holding it like this, because you're getting the advantage of the one gesture of pulling your stitch through, but also the advantage of having your fabric stretched a little, which makes these long stitches easier than if you were just doing them in the hand entirely. These sort of long stitches get more easily pulled, so the hoop is going to mitigate that, and having enough slack to push up makes for an easier sew. Now, there's nothing wrong with actually leaving your leaf like this and having them spaced out. It's actually, I think it looks really nice. So if you wanted the effect of a fern or the effect of a lacier leaf, definitely that could be it. Definitely it wouldn't need to do another thing, but leave your stitches like that. I'm going to come up with a different one, and actually I feel as if this could be a nice little branch, so stem stitch it is. I'm going to go straight into stem stitch, and that's just going to be lovely there. And right down to the trunk there, and then I can just weave this through. That's the beauty of having this twisted thread, and weave it back up, cut off, give it a snip, So I don't need to come up at the very point because I already put that piece in. Zoom in again for you. So I'm going to come up alongside at the first little gap that I left. I'll get my right hand underneath ready to push up. And I'm going to come in every gap that I left. And I left a gap at the spine. There it is. Pull through. And this should close up all of the gaps so that I have a full leaf again. And go down to the next one. And all of a sudden, got something totally different than you had before. I think I'll just do one more. Don't think I want to finish with a yellow. I think I'd rather have the green finishing. And I'll go down. And I'm just going to whip this stem stitch with the yellow. I'm going to go the same way that it's already wrapped, so upwards. That's my way around anyway. And just work my way down. You know, having the two colours whipped together. And straight down to there. And I think that looks really pretty. But it's definitely a finer look, and you'll be able to feel the thinness comparison to that. And then you can decide for yourselves, do you like that, or would you rather work with all 6 strands? Or when I've been doing my birds and my flowers, I quite often just work with 1 strand. I think on this sort of a project, 1 strand would be maybe too fine. This next stitch is called Leaf Stitch. And I've got a long over here. Again, I've got the point, I've got my central line in, and I'm just using a pen here because I know it's all going to get covered up. But what I really want to show you is I wouldn't normally put these lines in, but I'm going to do it so that you can see what's happening. So another little line either side of your central one. And I have got some pearl cotton in my needle, and it's a really nice variegated one. It goes from bluey green to yellow and back again. So that's the one I'm using. I'm going to come up right at the point. And taking a stitch down, maybe about a centimetre. There's my first stitch. So like with the fly stitch, you're coming up just to the side each time, on each side. So I'm going to come up there. And this time I'm not going to make that fly stitch shape or the open chain. I'm going to lay this thread alongside that one on an angle, and instead of putting my thread down on the spine of the leaf, the rib of the leaf, I'm going to cross over that line, and I'm going to go to that line on the side. So it crosses right the way over the middle of the rib. And then on that same side, I'll go back up to the top and find where the stitch needs to come up. And so now I'm going to cross over again. So this thread's going to come over. It's not going to go down on the mid rib, it's going to go cross over onto that other line. And you don't need a marked line. I've just put it in to show you. What you do need to do is you make the shortest stitches on the back that you can get away with. So whatever side you've gone down, you come up on that side again. So there's only a little stitch. I'll show you the back of this at the end. So now we're going to cross over again. And so these stitches, instead of ending up down the middle, they're going to make a cross. And you get this lovely nice woven effect. So I went down there, I'm coming up on the same side. Cross over the middle and go down. And I'm just going maybe 2 or 3 mils, 1/16 of an inch down each time. The same spacing as for the fly stitch as you come down the leaf. up on this same side, cross over and go down, up on the same side, cross over and go down. Definitely it'll show the variegated thread off to perfection. You can see the colour change happening already. So you can see I'm maybe making a couple of mils or 1/16 of an inch gap at the top and about the same at the bottom. The main thing is to come up on the side of the leaf that you went down on. I think I can just do it with just by pushing up. So there we go. We'll take a stitch to that side, cross over, take a stitch to that side. And you keep working down full length of your leaf, doing one side and then the other. As long as you've got some sort of a spine down the middle that you can cross your stitches over, but it doesn't even have to be straight. You could put a bend in that middle line. As long as you're crossing over it each time, you're doing leaf stitch. And I'm going to give this little leaf a stalk. And if you wanted to, you could carry the chain stitch right up the middle, but I'm not going to do that today. That chain stitch could continue right up if you wanted it to, or even a bit of a running stitch up the middle in a contrasting thread, but I'm going to leave it just natural. Let's have a flip over and have a look. So you can see we've got all the stitches, all the sideways stitches, but nothing down the middle. I think I'm going to leave it there for this week because I want to be able to do at least a couple of new stitches every week, and also use some of the stitches we've already done because they can also be used to do something creatively with the leaves, and I know that I need to do quite a few. I think that's a good starter off. So if you are going to draw lots of leaves on, yeah, don't make sure you've got enough room to do quite a few, I think. I'll leave you with the last look at the fly stitch, which actually gets a lovely rib down the middle. And that was the one done with 2 colours. And then the beautiful leaf stitch, which is a favourite. And I'm going to say they're all favourites, you know. I love embroidery, they are all favourites. But I'm super happy with my thread end tree. I hope you like the start of the new page. I'm really pleased with the way the couched thread ends look. They've got a real texture to them, and all the colours have just gone in lovely, and they make a really lovely tree trunk. So I hope if you've got thread ends, and like me you keep yours in a jar or a pot or a tin or something, that you'll use them like that and couch them down. And if you haven't, just use some lengths of different coloured threads or wool or whatever you happen to have. You could even do it with strips of fabric if you wanted. Anyway, that's the way I've started mine. And those 2 stitches, I'll definitely be doing more of them on my tree, but for the start I thought that was probably enough. Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone, and all the lovely comments I got about the bracket fungus. I know it was a bit of an odd subject in a way. I really like them, and in the end I do what I like to do, and I just hope that if you like it too, you come along with me. So thanks everybody who did send lovely comments about the bracket fungus page. It was a way of learning all different stitches in a creative way. I'm getting on with, I should have had my knitting to show you. I've been doing quite a lot of my knitting, and it's coming on a treat. I've finished the very bonny coloured full fair isle at the bottom. I'll try and see if I've got time to put it on Sunday's video. And I'm about to start a new dress, and I have a bird to do. I can show you the picture. I have this bird that I need to do for my sister, and it's for her Christmas present, and it's still not done. So expect a bird picture to be coming up as soon as I can get started on that, because it's well overdue being done. It keeps getting pushed to the back after all the other things that are getting on with. Anyway, thank you very much. Thanks for all of your comments and likes and all the lovely things you say. It really is heartwarming to me. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday with the finish of the needlebook, which has just been lovely for me to do. I've so enjoyed it, and there's a couple of really different things going on with it, so I hope you'll tune in and watch. Bye everyone, and thank you very much.